Thank you for joining me today for a very special edition of our COVID Comms cast. I'm Kirsten Bruce, I'm the Principal of VIVA Communications. Today I'm talking to someone with whom I've had the privilege of working with over many years on annual flu and pneumococcal pneumonia public health campaigns. Professor Robert Booy is an internationally renowned infectious diseases paediatrician and immunisation expert. Today, I will ask Professor Booy to share his thoughts on COVID-19 and the implications of the virus on Australians, to describe the barriers that scientists face in developing a coronavirus vaccine, and most importantly, to outline his latest project, Omega Infectious Science. Welcome, Professor Booy. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's great to be with you.
Professor Booy, how does the coronavirus differ to the flu virus, and why has this virus reached pandemic proportions so quickly in comparison to the flu virus?
Well, they are actually both called RNA viruses. That means they're very small, and when they go to replicate themselves, they're inaccurate. So they mutate very easily, both of them. And that's why we have lots of vaccines for the flu, and we need to change it every year. For corona, we've got hundreds of people trying to develop a vaccine, but no vaccine at all yet. But I think with corona, the polymerase, the enzyme which helps the virus to make babies, progeny, that enzyme is more accurate. So if we made a vaccine for corona in the next few months, it's likely to be more steady, more reliable, and able to be used maybe for a couple of years instead of having to be changed every year. Why has it become a pandemic? Well, there's some simple reasons. It's adapted to humans. That's the first thing. The fact that it can transmit between humans is really important. The particular coronavirus that we've got, COVID-19, has jumped from some kind of animal, we're not sure what, but probably a bat, and it's jumped into humans, and it's been able to transmit not just easily, but very well.
What impact, if any, do you think COVID-19 related social distancing measures will have on flu and pneumococcal pneumonia infection rates this winter?
Well, social distancing has been extremely important in the last 2 months in shutting down this virus. We've been particularly successful. We've done our social distancing very well. We're at real danger now. We're at a point where we're relaxing social distancing. People are getting to a point where they think, oh, well, maybe it's not so bad. They're forgetting the horrors of the UK, the horrors of Italy, of the US. And if we're not careful with our social distancing over the next few months, we could get a secondary surge, which is worse than the first. And so social distancing is really important. What it's going to do, and what it's already doing for flu, is that the rate of flu, the incidence of flu, has dramatically declined in the last 2 months. It was on an up curve in January, February, and then when social distancing came in, it led not only to the control of corona, COVID-19, but also to flu and other viruses which transmit through person-to-person human contact.
What will be the implications, if any, for those Australians who are not on this occasion going to be exposed to the coronavirus?
Well, that's a really interesting question, because the coronavirus will still cause trouble if you get it later on. The likelihood is, if you're an older person and you get it in the next few months or next year, it will still be really nasty. There is, however, a chance that the virus will mutate to a slightly less severe form. And if that were the case, and if that variant became the dominant virus, then there is a chance that next year and the year after, it'll become more like a cause of a cold rather than of a severe pneumonia. If we get a vaccine at the end of this year or next year, and if that vaccine gets made in millions and it gets distributed and it's safely given, then we can protect the population. But that's not a near prospect, that's at least a medium prospect, end of the year next year.
What are the major barriers scientists face in developing a coronavirus vaccine?
So there are several reasons why we've not yet been able to make a vaccine, and it relates to the virus itself, to the human immune response not being totally understood, and to concerns about whether whatever vaccine we come up with, whether it will be safe. There's a history in vaccine development for viruses which tells us that we have to tread carefully and we have to produce a product which is safe. A particular concern with making a vaccine against corona is that it has to be really effective because it's got to protect elderly people whose immune systems are poor and don't respond as well to vaccines.
What are the major learnings involving Australia's response to coronavirus to date that we need to consider should another pandemic occur?
One of the simple learnings is that we've reinforced the importance of good old infection control, hand washing, respiratory etiquette, where you blow your nose and throw the tissue away, you use the crook of your arm to sneeze into. All those simple things we've done pretty well, and they've worked. Another learning is we really shouldn't be messing with animals. So these live markets in China are a cause for real concern. And we do need to have an inquiry to understand which animal, was it a bat, was it something else?
Given that our lockdown is starting to lift, what should we be doing and what should we be careful of moving forward?
Well, we've learned that, for example, young children are infected less often, and when they are infected, usually quite mildly, unless they've got an underlying problem with their immune system. We've learned that the elderly are much more likely to get severe disease. We've got to not lose sight of the things that work so well, because if we can continue to apply them, we've got a chance of keeping this virus under control.
Your most recent project, Omega Infectious Science, combines your lifelong passion for science and children.
What we have is a free 10-lesson plan available on the internet, 2 teachers, 2 students, absolutely no hidden costs. The 10 lessons look at ethics, statistics, vaccinology, safety, all the relevant issues to help students have practical examples of why science is important.
This platform sounds amazing. So what's so different about the way in which your digital platform is teaching kids about science?
What's different is that we've consulted the experts and interviewed them. I've personally interviewed great Australian scientists like Michael Good, Peter Doherty, Nobel Prize winner, Ian Fraser, the inventor of the HPV, human papillomavirus vaccine. We've got an interview with Margaret Blackwell, another Australian Nobel Prize winner. Plus we've developed games and exercises and presentations which are clear and short and sharp so that students can understand. And there's also the vehicle for sending questions and us providing answers to things that really concern students who are 13 or 14 and doing the course.
What do you hope to achieve with Omega Infectious Science, and how can students access your platform?
What we want to do is inspire students to be part of the process, either directly or supportively around the science of disease control and producing better and safer approaches to protecting not only humans but animals as well. How can they get it? It's pretty simple. omega.org.au.
Well, it sounds like a fabulous platform. Congratulations for developing it. I'm sure it will prove so invaluable to so many students out there. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Professor Booy, and for sharing your knowledge and insights on COVID-19. For further COVID Comms Cast interviews and stories, or for help with navigating the current issues-rich environment, please get in touch.